Nobody likes being left out. That's why Special Effect are helping people with physical disabilities to play video games. But this isn't just about having fun. The gaming setups we create are personalised, so people can play to the very best of their abilities. And that opens the door to inclusion and independence, confidence and creativity. Help us level the playing field and create more magical gaming moments. Because it's everyone's turn to play.
Hello everybody and welcome to what is going to be our final round in the iRacing Summer Championship. My name is Michael and it's good to have everyone back as finishing off the roundup of championships, with this one being at the Oran Park in Narrowland, South Australia. So 1.6 kilometer track. And it is one of those that it's not around anymore. It's one of those tracks that unfortunately ceased to exist in 2010, but has been memorialized in iRacing. And we're going to be seeing the MX-5 is going to be used today, being quite a formidable car throughout the championship. And we're going to be seeing the drivers going straight into qualifying, just making their out laps right now. And we have a lot of our returning faces: Marley, Jack, Peter, Jordan, Lewis, and we're going to be seeing the times just flip around the places. We're going to be seeing cars lining up for their qualifying. So we're going to have a little onboard here with Marley going, of course, trusty. That's good. It's actually going to be Jack Nola going into turn one here. Bit of a long corner. One of those where you have to keep it nice and tight, keep it on the left side, so it sets yourself up into turn 2 and 3. Really try and get across these curves as much as you can. And then when you're braking just before here, going into turn 4. Again, with these cars, you want to keep a nice tight line so you set yourself up for the next corner here. You see Lewis taking purple sector, and then this is the last corner here. Downhill braking, so a little bit more difficult. Can have a little bit of front locking, which you don't really want to be having. But going across the line now and seeing a couple of people coming across the line now. Molly Watts having a 47.0 at top of the board. We're going to be seeing times coming through already. And we're going to be Starver and Jordan Charles going into second and third. So it looks like 47 dead, being an incredibly fast time already on the track. Some drivers will need to try and improve. So Jack being definitely off the line, definitely off the sort of pace, 0.8 of a second right now. And, you know, for the people at home, you know, when you've got a shorter track, Oran Park is a shorter circuit, and because of it, it is very much a lower lap time. So those lower lap times mean that the field becomes more compressed, and it also means that you're going to be seeing times going to be very close together, and we're going to be seeing some improvements already. So you can really see some combination of the tires going up to temperature, as well as the track bedding itself in. And we're already seeing faster times already. Nola going top of the board, 46.7, 3.8 to Watts in this. We're 46.77. So we're already seeing, you know, top of the board is going to be 500ths of a second. 400ths of a second, sorry, as we're going to be seeing our gap to the leader coming up here, and we're going to be seeing some times coming through. And Marley's already improving already, wanting to try and get that pole position so they can set themselves up for the sprint round. You can see car going absolutely wide there, not the sort of line you want to be doing, and that's going to be unfortunate for looks like Jonan? Looks like Jonan Turner. So not the corner you want to be up, but set yourself up and go again. This is an 8-minute qualifying, and we are nearly halfway through. So, you know, it's going to be really important to make sure that the these drivers are going to get themselves the best position they can. It looks like going to be returning to pits there. And actually, one of the things with the qualifying here, they only get 2 laps to actually qualify. So it is really important that they get those laps in. And Nola sneaking it at the top of the still keeping it at the top with that 40, with that 0.738. And looks like Jack is not improving at the moment. Actually, that time is very much far outside both times. And I think, as we're seeing here, it looks like I think all the times have been done. Just seeing a few cars just get themselves across the line and set themselves up. So it looks like already we're going to be seeing our very, compressed grid of 5 drivers setting themselves up, with Nola going into pole position with what's not too far behind. Stava in 3rd, Jordan Charles in 4th, and Turner leading the student championship. Well, the students, even though there's only one, in 5th position. We're going to be seeing a lovely showing of iRacing physics with a very, very broken front MX-5. So, just going to be waiting to get into our sprint race. Sprint race is going to we'll set up the positions for the race itself. So it's an important race to really get right. There are points on the line, and we'll probably update you throughout the show on what is going to be important for our current group of drivers and how it will affect the championship. It is the last round, so people want to be getting as many points as they can, setting themselves up for that final part. And we are just seeing some lovely shots of a bygone track, unfortunately. One of those that had disappeared in the late 2010s, and it does happen, unfortunately. Tracks come and go, some stay, and we see that with things like, some tracks have definitely stood the test of time, like Silverstone or the Nürburgring or Spa-Francorchamps. But some disappeared, unfortunately, and we had that in the UK recently with I think it's Rockingham was actually one of those that disappeared, and it does happen in the world of racing, and it is always sad when a track goes, because we do love the choices, we do love the options, and some tracks really have some nature. With this one, it's very much a hills, very much a very hilly sort of circuit, going up and down a lot of the time, especially that last corner. You're going into that downhill braking, so it's very easy for the tires to lock up and cause a lot of problems. And because of it, all manners of things can happen. Spin outs can occur. It's very easy to lock up. And if you do play Sims, sometimes downhill braking is very difficult. These MX-5s, I don't believe they have ABS. So they are a little bit more hard to control. And there's not a lot of downforce that these things travel with, any at all. So it means that they really are relying on the mechanical grip of the car to really get themselves round. And you'll see that with the nature of the lines that they take. Turn 1, you'll notice, is very much a long left-hander. And you'll see the drivers will line themselves up very much far on the right side, getting as close to the wall as possible, and going into that first corner, keeping it nice and tight, because you don't want to rerun it. You want to set yourself up going on that left side to go into that turn 2. And that is going to be where a lot of the speed is going to come from. And getting yourself through that 7, 8 and down to 9, there's a lot of time that can be made there. And of course, that setup, as we said, the last corner, that hard braking zone, one of the hardest on the course, with that downhill braking, setting yourself that long start-finish straight. And we're just going to be seeing a couple of camera angles. We're just waiting qualifying to end right now. Checker flag is flying, but as you said, all the drivers have had all of their laps. And here we go. So for our sprint race, we're going to have Jack Nola and Marley Watts taking the first row, Peter Staver in 3rd with Lewis Jordan Charles in 4th, Jonan in 5th place, and finally Jack Maloney in 6th. So we're going to be watching the drivers line up onto the grid, and we are going to have 5 lights are out And here we go for our sprint race. As we can see, Molly getting a lovely start on the straight, going nice side by side. It's all going to be about who can get the good braking going into this first corner and keeping it nice and tight and line themselves up. You can see in third place, you're going to be seeing cars trying to get very nice and close. You can see side by side, Marley really wants to get the position here as you can try and set themselves up going into turn 2. And it looks like Marley has made the position change and back in third, and Nola's gone down to third as Lewis has gone into second. So making the moves, you know, really taking the advantage of Jack having to make that offline move, and we see Lewis go into second place. So as we can see, Molly's going to be coming across the last corner, taking a little bit of a wider line there, just a little bit of stability. But we can see going across the line already, first lap in, we can see Molly going into first, Lewis second, and Nola in the third. Turner looks like they're going to be making a little bit of positional changes going into fourth position, but he's going to have to make it work going into this. And Turner is going to be going on the inside. We can see a car going wide. It looks like a car has unfortunately gone wide, and Jack has struggled. You know, definitely not the thing that you want to be seeing, especially as, you know, going to be having a little bit of a replay here, and just the car going wide and not cooperating whatsoever. And it's really unfortunate because Jack is a pretty good driver in the real world, because he drives in the UK MX5 Cup Series, and pretty good driver to himself actually. I think it was not last week, I think it was last weekend, had a podium position in at Oran Park. So the driver definitely has a lot of pace in the real world, but unfortunately, you know, dropping back right now and currently in 5th place, we wanted to make those positional changes. We're going to see Lewis going on the inside, keeping right by the bumper of Marley Watts, really trying to keep the pressure on and seeing whether or not a mistake can be forced out here. You know, Jordan's going to be really trying his best to keep as close as possible, as it looks like going to be making a move going into turn 4, really trying to keep it out. And you see Marley's rear end stepping out there. It looks like the car's gone very much out of position and gone wide. We're going to be seeing cars weaving around to try and dodge Marley Watts from doing any particular damage to their cars. And it looks like Marley's dropped back with the rest of the pack, with Nola and Maloney, and that sort of lower end of the positions, trying to get the tires a little bit cleaner, a little bit easier to use, and, you know, make it so they can try and get themselves back in the positions they want to. As, you know, our first row drivers have already dropped back down the grid. Going to be seeing the cars going round now. Peter Stava, you know, really gaining the positions through not fault of his own, more of the other cars getting dropped back by the close action and cars going wide. So they're at the moment trying the best in that number 14 MX5 to try and get those positions right now. 1.1 second gap for now. We'll keep an eye on it throughout the race. It's 3 minutes in of a 15-minute race. The car is going sideways, and it looks like Jonan has had a bit of a mistake coming out the last corner. We were saying earlier in the show, cars are more prone to those lockups, and we can see here in the replay coming over the crest, not too bad there, but going into that final corner, and you can just see the rear end locking up there and just spinning too much, and you can see that downhill braking being challenging. And, you know, noting earlier, you know, when the car's going downhill, the wheels that are most likely going to lock up are going to be those ones on the rear. And we're just going to see a heli cam of what happened here, and the car turned in, but the rear tires said nothing, and the car swapped it, and unfortunately that's a little bit damage on the rear end for Jonan, and a little bit drop of position now into 5th place. Lewis keeping the lead right now, with staying behind. He's keeping a comfortable gap, 1 second gap right now. We can see on the times coming through right now, and right now it's looking to be sort of pace, a relatively calmed down session. See a personal improvement in Jack Nola in 4th place, again trying to make those positions back up and get back into those podium positions that, you know, earned in the qualifying session. But qualifying does not equal points here, and positions are important for this, especially as the positions gained for this race and the position that you get from the sprint race will be your starting position for the feature race. And going around again, going into first corner again. Jordan keeping it up, but it looks like Stava Stubber getting a improvement, personal improvement. Nola getting purple, a purple lap time. So you can see Nola's really trying to push back up and get back those positions. Right now, currently keeping the gap just under 6 seconds. Noticeable gap, especially on a shorter track, but we'll see how that will affect them later on in the race. We see a couple of improvements coming through as well, and you can see there at the moment, you know, the ones that are the most scary ones that you're getting about +/-2 of a second, -3 temps. If you can keep doing that, then that's the point. You can see Lewis getting a little bit of rear end kick out, which is not the best that you want to be having. And the gap is coming down and down and down. That mistake going onto that long straight has cost them a little bit. And you can see there Marley having a bit of a moment going onto the grass. Not the sort of thing you want to be doing, especially as you're one of the faster drivers out qualifying. Not what you want to be having in the sprint race right now. And it looks like he is going to be overtaken as well by the number 54. And you can actually see here going very close side by side. And now we can have a look. Now the gap is down to 8 tenths of a second, and we're going to be looking at Turner here. You know, we're getting very, very close to each other here. 7 tenths of a second. So Jonan's going to be looking to try and keep close on the bumper. We saw that Marley is definitely a fast drive from qualifying. A little hit on the wall there by Turner. Not what you want to be doing if you want to be trying to gain that time to Marley to get those positional changes. We're going to be seeing him give a little bit of a gap for now. A little bit. Dropped down to about 1.3 seconds gap for now, as we're going to be having a look at the times. Looks like Pieces had a little bit of an issue, dropping back about 5 tenths of a second. I don't know what's really happened there. Might be a little bit to do with timings, but it is keeping consistent right now. And just have a look on the replay. And yeah, he went wide, unfortunately, coming out of turn 4, and that's not going to be helping their race efforts whatsoever. Now dropping back to 1.4 seconds. Again, not going to be good, but we're going to have a look back for the battle for 4th place. Jonan does want to make the position 2 tenths of a second. He's going to be right on the bumper. Marley is going to make the defensive move, try and make it as hard as possible for them going into turn 1. Again, turn 1's really important because you want to be able to get yourself lined up for turn 2. So having that inside line is incredibly powerful for setting yourself up. And it looks like Marley has kept the position for now, but Jonan is going to be wanting to put as much pressure as possible. Again, sitting on that rear, keeping them in the windscreen, keeping them there so that if they make a mistake, Jonan can pounce and get himself the positional change. So going into this final corner, keeping it nice and clean. Again, trying to swing it out as much as possible, keeping as much speed is really important, especially on these MX-5s, which are, they do have definitely a little bit of power, but nothing compared to something like your, you know, potentially your GT3s or your more powerful cars. These are more road-going cars, you know, or converted road-going cars, you know, put a roll cage on it, and pretty much you're ready to go with them. And it's really lovely, you know, really lovely series to see, and you can definitely get yourself into it. It definitely costs, as all racing is, but it's one of the cheaper ways to get into your grassroots racing. And, you know, it's really, really well represented in iRacing. And right now, currently looking here, keeping it within a second of Marley Watts right now, and just looking at the times that we're seeing, 2 tenths slower this lap compared to Lewis back at the lead, back for the fight for the lead positions. It looks like we've really settled into that sort of pace between the drivers, and it looks like Marley's definitely had one of the worst sort of situations having here, keeping in 4th place. And Nola, out of all of us, it's currently everyone. So definitely something that has been very much observant. You can see the car getting a little bit squealy on the rear. Jonan Jet tends to have a bit more of an oversteery car, and while these cars do have limited options in their setups, sometimes there is a little bit of wiggle room to kind of set it up to your own personal desires. You can see it getting really, really bad, and it's had another mistake again coming out the last corner. Oh, Jonan's had a lot of problems in this race having that corner again. You know, the downhill nature of that corner, making it a lot easier to lock up those rear tires, and it's showing again. And unfortunately, that mistake means that all of that effort to try and get close to Marley has unfortunately dropped off. And that means that, you know, with a third of the race remaining, we have just under 5 minutes remaining, it means that he has to claw all of it back up to try and get themselves any sort of chance of position. And probably for this, Jonan is probably not going to get any more positional changes. Now, the advantage is he's a student, and there are no other students in here. It's very much an alumni party here, and it means that those points will be very, very important for his championship run. But it also means that there's not really much competition to be fighting, especially if you are having potential issues with driving your car. You can actually see Maloney has actually caught up to Joan. You can see a little bit of late moving there, a little bit close, going side by side. It looks like Maloney has gone on the inside, but it looks like they're going to be fighting for the positions. And it looks like, yeah, going wide here, looking for a little bit of a cutback maneuver coming Jonan. Main thing is he's got that left side of the track where he wants it. It looks like Jonan has given up the position. It looks like it just wasn't worth it on Jonan to really go and fight for that position. And it looks like Maloney has taken the 5th place in this race, and actually saw on there Marley is keeping a nice relative in 4th position. And right now Lewis has got a quite comfortable lead, 4.2 seconds, and it looks like Jonan is definitely having a little bit of problems at that rear end. We can definitely say not being the sort of race that they have been wanting. When you go into this, the one thing you'll see is that going into this first to second corner section, you can really see the undulation, the going down into the valley sort of section here, and then coming right back up the hill, coming out of what would be turn 3 and then turn 4. And, you know, this track very much using that vertical difference, going a little bit onto the grass there, but you know, it really shows a track that love a little bit of elevation change, a little bit of difference, because it makes the track a little bit more interesting, definitely compared to some of those tracks like, you know, the newer sort of Tilka tracks, like something like Abu Dhabi, for example, where there's not really much changes, and you could potentially have, you know, quite a potentially boring section. And you can see here the elevation really does play a factor in your braking zones, the way the car moves. And we're going to be seeing right now Turner getting nice and close onto the back of Maloney's car. Again, wanted to potentially try and get that position back from Maloney, and not really race each other because they are on different championships, but it's much as pride as anything else to get those positions back and get some racing going. So going into this next one here, we're going to be seeing the car going nice and close, getting that slipstream, you know, pulling the car along. I'm potentially trying to get side by side here, looking for a little bit of a move there, but thinks better of it going into this first corner here. And cars are starting to run a little bit of a wider line. Keeping it nice and tight really helps going through that section. And you can see the cars just trying to keep each other one to the rear. And again, sometimes really sitting behind the car, you know, really looking, you know, sitting back and, you know, waiting for a mistake and keeping it close, keeping the pressure on. Sometimes it can lead to a mistake from the other driver, and that sort of style of driving is what we're seeing employed here. But keeping it nice and close. Again, the biggest thing right now, Joan, is to keep it on the track and not to spin. With only just over a minute remaining, and Lewis right now having a very comfortable lead, 5.5 seconds in the lead, and we're going to be seeing Joan go side by side going to turn 1. The move has been made, but can it be delivered? And we're going to be seeing Jack keeping on the outside, but it pushes them onto that really annoying line on the inside. And it looks like that inside line is really actually helping in defending the car, but Jack going a little bit squirmy on the rear there, probably giving Jonah a little bit of a chance. You see some defensive driving being done here by Jack, really trying to keep it as keeping Jonah as much as he can behind, but it looks like going side by side, going to the last corner. Jack's gone wide, and that's going to be a spin coming out from there, made by themselves. They are not be happy whatsoever. Oh, Jonah was actually very lucky to get away as low as it goes across to lap Jack, unfortunately, and that was very unfortunate. You're going to be seeing you know, the last couple of drivers coming through with 10 seconds left on the clock. So next time round is the checkered flag for the drivers. We're going to be seeing a replay here from Jack. So having just a little bit too much speed into that corner, going wide, and then the car losing the grip and spinning around. But that was the scary bit there. Just very, very close to potential disaster hitting the car, which is why it's very important. If you do have a spin out, hold your brakes, you know, really try and keep your brakes down, make yourself as least hazard as possible. And we're going to be seeing around the last corner here, Lewis keeping a comfortable lead here. And this is going to be a utter well-driven effort. And that will be checkered flag coming out for Lewis as he does a very nice pirouette spin around there to win the sprint race and a couple of points at that. Oh! Hopefully that person does not have a direct drive wheel, else might be feeling that one in the morning, as we're going to be seeing parts flying everywhere. It's one of the beautiful things that you can say about sim racing is the cars are getting very hit indeed. Tires going flying, everyone. And we're going to be seeing Jonan across going to be the last one coming across the line, hopefully in one piece, considering what we've seen earlier, maybe in a couple, as we're going to be seeing it definitely in the Jack Daniels livery. And that will be finishing off our sprint race. So eventful for our session. We're going to be having a little bit of a warm-up just to get the cars going before we go into our race. But a well-measured drive coming out from Lewis, keeping it nice and clean. And Louis, sorry. Names are hard, everyone. But Louis getting a lovely victory on that, keeping it nice and clean. We're going to see the cars bumping each other across. I think they're having a little bit of fun in the lobby. People are they very much know each other, so no foul play whatsoever, as we're going to be seeing the cars just come out for a little bit of a warm-up, just to make sure that all the cars and their setups are working properly, hopefully, because they've just done a 15-minute race. But it gives a chance for the people just to calm down, get themselves ready for another race, and get themselves in for the feature race, because this is where the points are going to be at. Championship at the moment, I will get an update probably on what is needed for the championship right now. I think I've been keeping a lovely sort of run throughout this championship, but definitely have a look into it as have a good time to do so, as we see Jack Maloney getting a little bit turned coming out of this warm-up session. Thank goodness we don't have any sort of systems. Oh god. It's fine, everyone. It's sim racing. If we damage the car, we just go back to pits and we go again. Seeing and the one thing you'll also notice is see a number of different liveries, a lot representation from Rev Sports, as usually seen in iRacing. Having to check Daniel liveries with the MX-5. Definitely the sort of drink that I may not have. I'm not really an alcoholic fan myself, but some people may do. They do like it. And yes, I think there's a lot of people wanting to turn over these Miatas and really showing that the damage models that these cars have in iRacing, because things do like flying in iRacing. And if you do want to see some cars flying, check out our other videos if you got some point either after this stream. We do have our new video on whether or not we can see if cars can fly. Lovely to, as the train is being formed, to control. But and we can really see, yeah, them having a lot of fun. In the meantime, should we do a special effects, shall we, while we have some time, and show off our one of our great partners that work on us?
Nobody likes being left out. That's why Special Effect are helping people with physical disabilities to play video games. But this isn't just about having fun. The gaming setups we create are personalized, so people can play to the very best of their abilities. And that opens the door to inclusion and independence, confidence and creativity. Help us level the playing field and create more magical gaming moments. Because it's everyone's turn to play.
And we come back to some chaos, don't we? And hello there, Doom. Welcome back.
Yes, hello. Good to be here. Just a little bit late, just a touch. So, what happened here?
I think utter chaos. I think, like I said, it is the warm-up session, so people are just checking that they are ready. But it looks like definitely showing off what can be done in terms of damage from the iRacing damage model. So, but we had an eventful race. Our first our pole position and second place driver. Wow! Oh dear. They said go for it, but it was taken a bit too literally with that car, and unfortunately a bit in pizzas. Pizzas? Pieces.
I'm having pizza later tonight.
Oh, I've had too much pizza this week. I had a Domino's, and it's absolutely destroyed my insides,
Oh
unfortunately.
yeah, I had Domino's 2 nights in a row as well.
But oh dear.
Now, what's your Domino's pizza of choice?
I always go for a barbecue, a Texas barbecue, because I prefer a barbecue base than a.
Yeah, I like barbecue base as well. I usually go half and half because I'm always like super indecisive. So I go half Texas barbecue and then half, what is it called, the Meatalicious. It's another barbecue base that has a bunch of meat on it. It's just so good.
Looks like I do say I am. Pizza's one of those that don't mind. But anyway, enough about pizza. It looks like the lights are going to be going as we're going to be seeing 5 lights go red and lights are out, and we're going to be seeing Peter having a okay start. Actually, a very lovely start as Lewis had a little bit of a stinker, and it looks like cars are going to be swarming around to get those positional changes, and the outside, and contact already going into the first corner. This long corner, it's really important to keep that space, and you've actually seen the inside is a really good line for defending. It looks like the car has been spun, and there is chaos already on the first lap.
Yeah, it didn't take long for our fantastic drivers here to make something happen. But it looks like Stather is currently leading with what's not far behind. Are they experiencing some engine issues?
I think they're making it a little bit more easier for the cars behind as we have our 20-minute season. Wherever there's contact, blame Peter, as race control is having a little bit of fun. So the cars are going to be forming up again just to make it nice and lovely, especially for you guys back at home, because I think they like to make it nice. I think actually some cars are going for some repairs in the pit lane, so watch the leaderboard in the top left for that. You can see they're going in there as a replay getting made here, as you can see Jack Nola getting spun as well, being collected by Louis going into
look at that wheel is off. It's trying to be a flying DeLorean.
Yes, unfortunately that wheel is unfortunately detached, and that will be a return to garage for them. Further up yeah, and it looks like Peter's just had a horrible entry to that corner, really not getting it together, and it looks like Louis having a bit of a problem there, and it looks like Peter may have potentially spun him, but have a think about that, and it looks like the cars are forming up again just to make it nice for everyone in this race. So nice on them, as Jack unfortunately still in the pits taking those repairs. Definitely not the sort of race they want to be having, but everyone being a lovely sport, and looks like the cars will be going back round and forming again, and Be very much like a safety car restart.
Yeah, Nola, one of our fastest drivers, had some bad luck there at the start, so he's just trying to catch up to the pack now.
I think definitely the experience between what's had in iRacing to real life being different, and it can be a little different between the simulator and the real world. And unfortunately, I think Jax has been very, very unlucky within both the sprint race and the feature race. You know, getting second in qualifying, again spun. Not the sort of situation, again, not by any fault of their own, and fortunately, the go for it is more going back to the pits, and I think they'll be letting Nola catch up, and I think they probably, if they are doing what I think they're doing, I think we might see them go form back up and form back up for a safety car restart potentially, and going again.
Yeah, I wonder, are we going to see a full lap before they do that, or are they just going now? It looks like they're going now.
Yep, and it looks like we have some green flag racing. It looks like Louis has been dropped out, unfortunately, by Nola on the restart. So already showing a little bit of catching up to do as we're going across the final corner into very much our longest straight of the circuit, the start-finish straight. Again, them keeping one behind the other, keeping as much slipstream as they can, setting themselves up. These cars are definitely very power sensitive, so anything you can get from slipstreaming will be helpful indeed. As you can see, he's having a bit of an issue there, and losing it going to the first corner, going down into third place here, and you're going to be seeing cars swarming around as Jonan was looking potentially for a move going into turn 3, thinking better of it. And you can see already Marley showing a comfortable, tiny little bit of a lead for now, but Jack is definitely on the room, 5/10 of a second. And currently we're looking at Jack Nola trying to keep himself relatively in the right position, going very, very close as Jonah makes a little bit of a mistake coming out the final corner. And, you know, when you make a mistake on that final corner, you're going to be feeling the effects of it across that entire straight, as Nola's going to be getting that speed advantage going on the inside. We'll see whether or not it works, but not too much, as contact has been made and cars are spinning everywhere.
Happened again.
Yeah, unfortunately there is no front end on that car, but number 74, Jack Maloney. It looks like Pete, race control is not very happy with Pete spinning everyone, and unfortunately it means that we may have to do another bit of forming up again. But let's have a look at the replay, shall we?
So you can see Stadler tried to go up the inside there, but the other car wasn't aware, or maybe Stadler went a bit too wide. It's hard to tell from just one angle.
It was a very, very ambitious move, you know, going into that first corner, because the apex is so much, you know, the apex is quite far into the corner. It's a very long left-hander, and unfortunately, you know, going for that dive bomb there really meant that you had to really make it stick. And unfortunately, you know, because you're not really side by side, you know, Jack can turn in, potentially want a little bit of space, but it looks like that lunge was a bit too ambitious there, and unfortunately causing absolute chaos from that incident, and seeing a number of cars going back in the pits for repairs.
I don't think anybody that has already pitted for repairs is pitting again, so everybody was able to do a fast repair here, and they'll be looking to catch back up here in just a moment.
Yeah, I'm going to see the cars behind being very courteous to make sure to keep a bit of nice, close racing for us as well as themselves, because it's always nice to have a bit of fun side by side. It's, you know, it's definitely in summer. You know, there's no NSE points on the line. There's nothing crazy except for pride and glory, and I think they're making it nice and, well, how can I say, fun for everyone, including us at home, which is very nice to see. I'm going to be seeing all the cars form up here, so not long to go until our fantasy restart going in, as we have just under 13 minutes remaining on the clock. I think the cars have started going already, going to turn 1, so nope, maybe not. I think they'll be starting at some point.
It looks like they've gone now.
Yeah, it looks like we have some action already, and Peter trying to go on the inside, but not carrying a lot of speed coming out of it, and that will be punished all the way going down into this next set of left-handers, and falling down all the way, but going on the inside, keeping the aggression. Peter really wants to show that, you know, this is my position, and it looks like Jonan going a little bit too wide there and hitting the wall. Not the best sort of situation for Jonan, that final corner being a bit of a problem, especially spinning out twice in the sprint race.
Oh, it's happened again!
Oh no, not again. Jack getting spun for, I think, probably the 3rd time in this race. Let's have a look at the replay. So, looks like Peter going in for another dive again. Oh, come on now. Come on, Peter. Come on, Pete. You tried it once, it didn't work, and you went and tried it again, and what do you think's going to happen? Unfortunate. As race control is not very happy with Pete whatsoever. But we're going to be going across the line here, and we're seeing Marley Watts keeping that first position with a little bit of pressure on Nola on the inside. So Nola really trying to get themselves back up into those positions, clawing themselves for, you know, a spin at the very start of the race, but going very nice and close now. So Marley's going to be feeling a little bit of pressure here going into turn 4. And, you know, again, it's one of those corners we want to swing out, and Marley's gone wide, and this is going to be really helpful for Jack, because this is going to mean he's going to be laying an inside corner. Looks like a little bit
now
of
that's a cut.
moment. Oh dear, that is a bit of a cut indeed, and it might be punishing them going out of this corner, as Marley's got a bit more speed, getting that wider line, and it might be helping them going down the straight. As you can see, Louis as well, potentially going for the overtake on the outside here. We'll see what happens. We've actually seen that the outside's been pretty good at defending, and it's going potentially 3 wide. Very close, but it looks like, as I said, that outside line is very good for defense, and Marley keeping the position for now, but Jack and Louis being very close, so it's all pickings for the front of the field.
I think I just saw Jordan Charles set the fastest lap. May have been a couple minutes ago now. But that was the only one in the 45s as of yet.
Yeah, I think Louis having a very nice run there, nice cleaner run, as these other drivers are scrapping with each other, and Nola's co-driver is definitely not very happy back at the pit lane. And we're going to be seeing the cars go very close. You can really see here going side by side into turn 3, and it looks like Nola's made the move stick. And because Marley's on the offline, Louis thought, let's take this opportunity and get themselves the position. And in 2 corners, Marley has lost 2 positions, currently in 3rd. But very, very close racing indeed. Anything can happen here as cars are going everywhere, and Peter's been sent flying across the grass, keeping as it is, and Louis is spun on the outside as all sorts of profanity that we see in front of us happening, and that's very unfortunate for certain Louis Jordan Charles, who won our sprint race earlier in the stream. I think the groundskeeper will not be happy, as unfortunately might be turning up a little bit too much mud. Not the best place, but luckily this is a video game, and also and this place doesn't actually exist anymore. I think there's some housing estates that exist instead. But this is just the nature of unfortunate tracks that have lost in time, but immortalized on our simulators. And Jack Nola keeping the P1 for now, but and getting a faster lap compared to Marley in this last lap, just under 8 minutes to go, but keeping it nice and close. Battle for both first and third being seen here, and I think the big one to be noticed is, you know, can these drivers keep it up? you know, if mistakes happen, then other drivers can really capitalize. And as we've seen, when mistakes are made, they are big. And it looks like Louis has dropped a bit there, unfortunately, going down to about second right now. And these two are going to be fighting it for the win.
Having a little replay there when Louis had a spin.
Yeah. Just seeing the Louis spin from earlier, and this is Jonan unfortunately having a bit of a moment. Looks like coming out of turn 4, and just means that it's one of those that have had a bit of a problem. And Jab Maloney having probably a little bit of a moment here going into the final corner here. And taking a little bit too much on the inside, and that's going to be an unfortunate spin out. That last corner being a little bit tricky for some of the drivers already that we've seen today. Both Jonan also being caught out for other reasons, more lockup based, and we can see some very, very harsh fighting here coming out from Marley. Marley really wants this P1. He wants this win, but he's going to have to fight for it as. We're going to be seeing Jack keeping the inside and keeping it nice and clean. Some defensive driving being used here, but it is keeping Marley from making the overtake and getting those wonderful lines that you can have in a fight here. But also means it compromises the cars behind. But there's a lovely gap, about 5 seconds between second and third. So these two are going to try and scrap it out as much as they can to try and get this P1 and potentially get this win for this race, as we are going for the final corner. Both drivers keeping it nice and clean. It's all about how far you can run to that wall. As the closer you get, the more speed you can carry.
Yeah, you don't want to be touching it though. That can give you all sorts of issues. Looks like nobody is having any issues. We saw Jonan Turner give it a small tap earlier, but he seems to be doing okay, I suppose, all the way at the back.
Yeah, it looks like the gap between fifth and sixth really widened out. I think some drivers having a little bit more troubles than others, and I think Louis had a bit of troubles this race as well. And speaking of which, Louis is really trying to fight for his position against Peace, who's had a very interesting race. Definitely the one where it's had a bit too much fun, turning a couple of drivers, and it looks like looks like production's having a bit of fun with us, as dive bombs have been known from Peter, and looks like keeping it nice and clean. But looks like Louis is going to try and line himself up, get a better line there, and get the better speed out of the exit, keeping it nice and close. Doesn't quite have enough to get side by side. I may potentially jinx myself, and looks like the cars are keeping nice and close, and looks like the dive bomb has been made. Peter has been shown the card, shown Louis' card here, and it looks like Louis is going to be going side by side. They're going to be keeping it together side. Well,
Peter had a better run there, taking the slightly wider line. So
yeah,
dive bomb didn't really work yet.
Yeah, I think the cameras being a little bit trickery. A little bit of trickery from the cameras, but looks like Peter keeping Louis behind. I think while this is all going on, Jack wants to fight with our sole student in the race. A little bit of pride and glory here from fighting for these positions, but Jonah's going to give us a good show, keeping the inside line, making the Jack take the outside line, the longer line, but maybe a bit too much on the inside. And I don't know if that's the best sort of line to take there, and unfortunately you've dropped a bit back, Jack.
Perhaps it would have worked if this was Rallycross, but it is in fact not Rallycross. And we are in these Mazda MX-5s that don't really like to go sideways too much.
It's also iRacing, where if you go off, if you go offline and go onto the grass, your tires are slippery as anything, and actually you can see there a bit too much speed taken there by Louis, and I think Peter's going to be wanting to get this grip advantage that's coming out this next corner. Let's actually have a look on the replay. And you can see from Jack here, taking the outside line. Looks like Jonan said, I've done it, I've had enough. And actually, he's had enough not just of Jack, but also his own car, spinning himself out in the process. So I don't know if that was intentional or not, but it wasn't really a successful move there. And looks like Maloney is going to keep it there as Turner has entered the pits. In the meantime, looks like Peter has sent the dive bomb. It looks like Louis being a little bit rude, sending both Peter and himself onto the grass. Not the sort of thing you want to be doing. It looks like Peter has kept it throughout all of that, kept that position, that third position, that last podium place. And it looks like, but that line is going to be a little bit compromised there. See if Louis can capitalize on this. And looking for a little bit of a move, but not really done there. You really need a lot of speed here, and actually he's just given a bit of a bump, and all he's done there is just sent himself wide and dropped himself back, so not the best move.
Is that Jonan Turner leaving the pits there?
Yeah, unfortunately had a little bit of a scuffle earlier and having to send himself to the pits. And let's see if anything happens here.
That is a weird pit exit.
Looks like just seeing the car go back onto circuit. Jonas not had the best of racing, as we're seeing a little bit of tyre smoke in the air. May have something happened. We'll have to see what's happening. We're having a helicam from Jack Maloney. See if anything happens here. Going a bit wide already. It looks like the rear is just wanting to go ahead of himself, and that is a bit of a spin out there. Jack losing a position in the process. So not the line or what he wanted.
It looks like Nola has made a massive gap between himself and Watts now, so Nola is going to be looking to do one more lap here probably and take the race win. Actually, where is Nola right now?
I think
this game needs a track map.
Yeah, I think somewhere on the track right now, a little bit further on the top, and it looks like Jack Noller is coming down into the final corner. One last corner to make it, and onto the straight, and it looks like Jack has re-shown a little bit of pace here in the feature race and will be winning the feature race for himself, hopefully for a good part in the championship as well, as Marley Watts coming across for P2, Turner taking that taking the line in last place. And Stava coming right across the line, taking that final podium position, the very last point. Well done to Peter, taking the last podium position. And we're going to be seeing a helicam here. Looks like a little bit, Louis tried to push as much as can, but compromise the exit. And it looks like, yeah, it looks like he's given the position back there. So a little bit of courtesy being shown here by Louis, and Peter taking the last position. And Maloney just coming across as our last driver to complete. And well done to Jack Noller, who had a very rough sprint race, but showing it a little bit of pace, showing the pace that he has, and coming through to get the win.
Yeah, and so that was the two races here at Oran Park. It was... I was only here for the second one, so I don't know how the sprint race went, but we've seen some incidents.
Yeah, I think drivers been showing a little bit of courtesy, which is nice to see. And I think, you know, iRacing can be a little bit chaotic, especially when you go offline, as we saw. Definitely a few drivers having a bit of a moment if they go even a little bit onto the grass, but really showing that you know, pace, if you've got the pace and you've got the cars to do it, then you can make some places, and this will be our final one. And we're just going to be seeing the results here. So Jack Nola winning the race with Marley Watts in second, keeping a nice fight at the front of the field with Peter Stava, I can never get that right, in the final podium positions with Louis, Jack, and Jonan rounding up the 4th to 6th position, with Jonan winning the sole student running, and that will be the last of our races on iRacing. We've had a bit of an eventful season, and it's lovely to see that seeing some of these more, I could say, traditional road-going cars being used on the track, and MX-5 really being one of those pinnacles of grassroots racing, and even with Jack Nola showing a bit of pace in the feature race, also showing a bit of pace on the actual track, and keep a oh dear, I think Jason having a little bit of fun as well. And
Do we know the championship standings?
I wish. I don't worry. Right. I think if we actually have a look, so it really comes down to how much the points were in the positions, and unfortunately, I don't really have them on hand. But good racing out of the whole. Yeah, there's one thing that we can definitely say, that Jonan has definitely won the student class as one of the sole runners in the championship. So well done for Jonan for doing so, and showing the effort going into this. And we'll see how it goes going into our winter series. Hopefully, returners in that. And I think that's going to be it for everyone here. I think this is going to be the last of the championships to round out. I think Dirt is doing their own thing, and we don't stream those. But
that's been finished now. I am pretty sure Jack Nola has won.
oh, lovely! Showing pace in multiple games as expected.
Yeah, he
these real
snatched my win
drivers.
away. I'm very disappointed.
Damn these real racing drivers! But
it's cheating.
Yeah, no. Is it cheating? I think they have to pay a lot of money as well. So I think they're a bit more invested in terms of their money. But it means that get some very experienced drivers as well. Yes, and if you are a current student and are looking to do some of your own racing in iRacing, keep an eye, as our winter series will be following on later in the year. So if you are interested, as well as any of our race series or any of our sort of events that we have, public or student, go on to busr.gg and follow us on our social media channels as always. And this has been the last of our summer championship, and definitely a bit of fun to see some old drivers show it on the track. And in winter, we're going to be seeing a whole plethora of new and returning students face it out on the tracks on iRacing, F1, and ACC, as well as our Dirt Rally series as well. So thank you for everyone for watching, and thank you for Doom for coming on.
Yeah, no worries, no worries.
It's good to have some people around, and Jason as well in our production. He's always lovely giving us the messages and the support. And thank you, everyone, and have a good evening to you all.
Bye-bye.